It is the 20th of November. I have already received all of my watches purchased for the 11 of the 11 sale. They came really fast. There are three of the most interesting watches on AliExpress that I really wanted to see. Namely the Specht and Sohne Homage of the Rolex Landwetter, the Boderry Voyager with that 78-hour power reserve movement coated in ceramic, and the Pagani design Homage of the Aqua Terra with that Cyan aquamarine dial. Very nice. I had previously received two of the watches that are really hot right now. The Martin SN0150 with that amazingly nice Guilloché dial, and the Berny with the Miyota 9015 movement. And of course I'm gonna be leaving all the links to the watches in the description below with the discount codes that will last during the Black Friday Cyber Monday sale. Yes, another sale lasting from now until the 2nd of December. So there you go, we've got a lot to talk about today. And let's start by that Specht and Sohne. I really didn't know what to expect because this brand is really hit or miss. And here, let me tell you that this is a hit. Of course, once again, let's assume that you're not totally against homages, but for the price, and we'll get to that later, this is really interesting. Let's start by what makes this watch good, and it's first of all the dimensions. They nailed them with only 36.7 millimeters in diameter by 11.1 millimeters in height. I know the original is much thinner, but this is the best they can do at this price point. 45.1 millimeters in lug to lug, and that integrated bracelet goes from 22.7 at its highest point to 16.5 at its thinnest point. So with those dimensions on the wrist, it wears beautifully well, and that is one of the strong points of this watch. Specht and Sohne didn't try to improve or change anything, they just copied the dial and the hands from the Rolex, and they got it well. That honeycomb pattern is just fine, it works here, as does that fluted bezel. The 12, 6 and 9 numerals are also big and filled with lume, as are the other rectangular indices. Everything is nice, everything is good, up to that sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating covering the whole thing. The Cyclops does not have anti-reflective coating, and it does show. The finishing of the watch is quite decent for the price. Do not expect Saint Martin type finishing, you will not get it here, but it's okay. It's on par with what Pagani design or Aris dive gives us, for example. When you flip this watch around, you get a look at the Miyota 8215 through the transparent case back, and mine is performing quite decently at -7 to +1. With the $15 discount during the Black Friday sale, because yes, of course, this is AliExpress, we have another sale, you can have it at $109. Let's sum up the positives and negatives. The positives, we have said it, the size is great, as is the wearing experience, the quality is overall good, the lume is quite impressive for this price point, and the movement performs quite decently, at least on my unit. The negatives, of course, if you're not into that, it is a homage, a blatant homage, so if you're not into that, well, you wouldn't be watching this video, first of all. So let's move on to other negatives. The bad anti-reflective coating on the Cyclops. You understand why Rolex puts on anti-reflective only on the Cyclops, and we have said it, the finishing, which is not as sharp as it could be, but totally understandable for a watch at this price point. I do recommend this one if you're curious about. I knew I was, so I totally tried this one and I'm not disappointed. If you also have it, do let me know what you think in the comments below. Second watch of the selection, the Boderry Voyager 72, and I took a gamble and got it in the zebra-coated blue version. More on that effect later. Let's first get to this watch. Compared to the first Voyager, this is much more complex. The crown, first of all, is at 3 with protecting crown guard. What changes is the dial pattern. Here you've got honeycomb shapes, an applied Boderry logo, and a small seconds at 3. The indices are lume with what I assume is C3, Superluminova, with the sword hands being applied in old radium. This watch can be summed up as being really matte. Everything is matte, from the dial to the case finishing, and that kind of gives it military effect, which is what they were looking for, I suppose, and it works here. This is a very attractive watch. Now let's go to that finishing. Cerakoted can be hit or miss. Some people don't like it because it may look like plastic, but it can protect easy to scratch surfaces like titanium, for example. Here mine has already scratched a little bit, so I don't know if that holds really true. Let's see with time. But in any case, you've got a sapphire crystal here front and back, and if we stick to the back, we can see that very highly decorated Hangzhou 8240 movement, which is a highlight of this watch and gives it part of its name. This movement is a higher beat, so 28,800 beats per hour, and has 72 hours of power reserve. All that is good and all, but how is the performance? Well, on mine it is not that good, going from plus 15 to plus 18, but it could be a matter of just my unit. In any case, it is very well decorated, as you can see. With that golden rotor, those blued screws, it is quite a delight to look at. And at only 123 with the codes for this coated version, or 102 version for the plain titanium, it is, I believe, really good value for money. Let's not forget the strap. I did not get the titanium bracelet. I went for the strap, which I believe is a good thing. Dimensions wise, we're looking at 40 millimeters in diameter by 11.6 millimeter in thickness, by 48.8 in log to log, though, so pretty large in log to log, by 22 millimeters in log width. If you take the fully titanium version, I believe it will be also quite a thick bracelet like it was in the previous Voyager. So I went for the canvas option, the single pass NATO, and it is quite good with matching hardware. The reproach that I have here is that the hardware is not matching. It is titanium, but it is not coated. They could have coated it, it would have been a very nice detail. But for this price point, I can really forgive them. And the last watch is the Pagani design Aqua Terra. I don't even remember the reference, and I don't think it matters actually. It is the Aqua Terra. The dimensions are 41 millimeters in diameter, which is quite large, and it shows. I think we're moving away from bigger watches into smaller frames, and this watch just feels and looks a little bit too big and a little bit too clumsy. Still, it is not too bad at 11.9 millimeters in thickness, 47.4 millimeters in log to log, and that kind of saves it on the wrist, 20 millimeters in log width, and the bracelet goes from 20 millimeters to 18 millimeters. The movement is a Miyota 8215 in here, and mine performs really well at +6 to +8. Where Pagani have nailed it in here is with that dial, the kind of the most important part of this watch. The Fumé Cyan dial is very well made, very attractive, and that is what I was looking for in this watch. The price with the $15 discount goes to $89, so that is quite good for what you're getting. Positives, of course, it's that price. It is really competitive. The great dial, the quite good case finish, let's be honest, and the movement that performs very well on mine. The negatives, that bracelet. The bracelet is quite sharp and uncomfortable. The loom is quite poor also, especially on the hand, and as I said, the watch is kind of large and clunky. If it were, let's say, 37, 38, it would be much better. And of course, the two that I have already talked to you about, the SN0150, which is just a little bit more expensive during the Cyber Monday sale as it was during the 11 of 11 sale. A beautiful watch with that Guilloché dial, really impressive. Go check it out, a really nice watch. And of course, the Berny with the 9015 inside, a very nice looking watch, very nice dial, quite large though for a dress watch, but of course with that 9015 movement in here. Too bad they couldn't manage to put a sapphire crystal on top. It would have been really the only thing that was missing on this watch. And maybe the date window that shouldn't have shown. They should have used the version with no date. Besides from that, for only $115 during the sale, it is one of the cheapest ways in which you can get the 9015 on a watch. If you want more ideas on AliExpress watches, don't forget to go check my 11 of the 11 sale, which I'm going to leave you here, and I'll see you right away in this video.